Hi, I am new to here and I hope that you can find some entertainment while watching me do pretty much nothing. I'm gonna do my makeup and of course, and like that might seem really boring and that's totally fine and it probably will be, but hang on with me for just a moment. I have a really hard time with like procrastination, right? Like a lot of people do. And I'm just gonna wipe my face off while I talk. But I've also had a really hard time with life recently, and there's so much going on. And most of it I can't talk about yet. But there's just a lot. Like, imagine everything that could fall apart in your life right now. And aside from, I don't have any kids, so, and I'm alive. And look at me, I can breathe and so on. But it's been really rough. And I have actually had a YouTube channel on and off since I was like 12. With the goal usually of like gaining a following and building a community. I think is the biggest part of it for me. Building a community. And I've done other social media for about, well, since 2019. It's just the beginning of 2025, so that's a good amount of time. I've practiced, I've been behind the camera a bit, and there's certain types of media that I've gained a lot of confidence with. I believe there's definitely much more confidence to build in all of those areas, but in taking these videos of me just like talking about a subject to YouTube, the platform, the format, everything like that is not something that I have a lot of familiarity with how it is now, because it's very different than it was 10 years ago. But I truly believe that within myself, the only way that I can become really good at something, like obviously good, like present myself and my skills and my abilities, is by practicing a little bit, doing something to gain a little bit of comfort. That was my heaters turning on. I'm gonna turn them off. I turned them off. You have to wait for me. Okay, we'll see how the heaters affected the sound because it's a good experiment. But anyways, I know that sounds pretty basic, but I'm very skilled. I'm a very smart and skilled person. I'm autistic. My pattern recognition is insane. My ability to understand topics when given information is insane. And that is all great. My dog's coming over here. Hi, baby girl. I know, she wants to go for an adventure. Well, there's a lot going on right now and we can't get anywhere, so. Anyways, when it comes to demonstrating skills in like practiced or like applied scenarios, what is the word? In like whatever, with people and stuff, whatever the topic is, I could probably kill it. Now, because I am neurodivergent, I do need to have like a particular amount of interest in the subject and the idea and the situation or the people involved to thrive at all. Otherwise, I just can't. I mean, that's kind of normal. Like even neurotypical people, they do things that they want to do and they try to avoid things they don't want to do, right? But I think a difference is I cannot physically do something that I don't want to do. I can't, like, I could not work a job just to get paid unless I had interest in it. Now I can find interest in like, should I do my makeup like I said I was going to? I do find interest in a lot of different topics, and I can find interest in details and in like habits and exercises and pretty much any job where I am interacting with people and I can do a good job with like how I communicate with them and I can perform well, I'm probably gonna find some like satisfaction there. My dog is drinking. We'll wait for the dog to stop drinking. Can't turn that off like a heater. She has to stay so hydrated. I'm using Infallible foundation. It's the Pro Matte. And I guess I've always worn that. It's been a really long time that I've used this. I'm not probably going to tell you all the products that I use, but it's one of my favorite foundations, and I've used it for a very long time. It's very consistent and reliable. But we can go over that some other time. My whole point to my statement is that I need to be able to do this to gain enough confidence in it to perform well. And I have such a hard time doing something until I feel like I can do it well, right? Some level of perfectionism, a few other things as well. And so I'm forcing myself to literally like sit here and pretty much do nothing in front of the camera, because that's not technically doing nothing. That is doing something, and something is better than nothing. And I might be like quite ill right now, and I might need to do my makeup, and I might need to like sit down and rest. But if I can do that while in front of a camera and just practice, even if I don't upload this. Now, I think for most people that might cause a little bit of a problem, because you're gonna get used to creating content and then just being like, it's not good enough, and deleting it. I've never been, well, not never been the person, but I've been an artist my entire life, and I taught myself to not throw out art. It's a rule. I'm not allowed to go, it's not good enough, I quit, or I hate this, and tear it apart. You just finish it. And you keep it around for long enough that your perception has the opportunity to change. Oh, why are you whining? And then if you want, you can give it away. If you want to, if you had it for long enough, you can discard of it. But it's not out of that like disgust or that like frustration, you know, for something you created didn't turn out well. Because again, even if it's not what you wanted, and even if it's not good, you still created something, you learned and you practiced and you improved your skills, whether or not you believe it or not. Do you think I've been blending, like putting this on my skin for long enough? So this is me in front of a camera. I wish that I could talk more about the situation that I'm in, and why maybe I want to sit in front of a camera, but I can talk a little bit about just a couple of things. I'm really lonely, and I have friends, and I have people in my life, and I do have a community. I'm not alone. I'm running out of this foundation, though. This is white foundation from Manic Panic. So far it's the best one that works for me that I've found, and I think partially it's mostly because it blends correctly with this formula of my other foundation, but it is empty, so I'm gonna have to get more. And I'm lonely, and I found a lot more comfort than usual in my whole life. This is a topic about Snapchat. I'm probably not supposed to say that word on YouTube, but I've been using that app for a really long time. It works for my neurodivergent brain because of the way the format is and the photos and stuff. But like, I've never been the person that posts to their story all the time. Like often, but it's usually just pictures. And recently I've derived a lot of comfort in talking to my camera and posting it Even if literally nobody would use it. Like I said, I'm pretty sure I still would post it. And nobody responds to it. And that's okay. Because I'm practicing something that could benefit me and that I want to practice. And I'm entertaining myself, and that is one person, right? And even if I could make this video and one person feels a little less alone, or one person feels a little more entertained, or like they watch this in the background while they get a task done and it just helps their brain, or they watch it, just relieves any type of like level of anxiety or like boredom or anything, that's beneficial. And I am one person, and that does do that for me. So I've already checked that box, and that's fine. But you know, going back to being lonely, I learned something sort of recently from somebody. This is kind of a stranger. No, maybe I learned it from myself, actually. I have this like list of notes that I made when I was in the hospital semi-recently. I had a lot of time to think, and one of them, a few of them I learned from like other people at the hospital, and some of them I just learned from like processing and thinking about things and being in a very quiet state. And the one that came to mind a moment ago, which is kind of trying to flee my mind, but I can do this, is you're very, it's not typical to feel like you have a huge community of people that are making a huge impact on your life. It's a wonderful situation to be in, but it's not normal. And I think that a lot of people feel as if they're not experiencing and like feeling the change and the impact of their community, that it's not having an impact, therefore they don't have a community. And you'll find yourself answering the question of, do you have a community? Do you have a support system? You'll be answering it, no. Even though if you do the math, you're like, I have 3 friends and I can talk to my parents once in a while, or I have a therapist, or I have a doctor, or I have this neighbor, these like, I'm friends with a few people in my community, and I have a good relationship with my dog, and I have a really good relationship with myself, or any combination of anything. In your head, if you have that thought of like, I'm not the person that doesn't have any community. Now, a lot of people don't, but if this resonates with you, that's, you know, what I'm going for. So most people still will respond to that question with, no, I don't think I have community. Because you dig a little deeper and you assume, or like you, not assume, you figure out that that person's actually asking like, do you have a support system? Are there people impacting your life? Are there people to lean on, you know? And you don't feel like that's true. And so you answer that ultimate question with a no. And how much of my makeup can I do without a mirror? That's the question. I really need to finish what I'm saying. I have a lot of brain trauma, and it's been really affecting my ability to hold, like, sustain thought and stay linear or whatever. Or you don't even have to be linear with thought, but like sometimes it just goes blank. My point, hopefully, comes back to me by the end of this sentence. My point is that it's not like going to be that obvious, the impact that people make on your life. You're not even going to be able to see it or feel it enough for it to be at the forefront of your mind. everybody is making such a small difference in your life that it makes a big difference. But you cannot see it when it's happening. You just don't know any different, meaning that your life is the way that it is right now because of every single little tiny thing anybody ever did. And like, with you in mind or not, but like, it's never going to be obvious, but it's going to be true. It's going to be present, and you kind of have to make peace with that. That's the conversation I had with myself. I said you have to make peace with that, because if you feel like you don't have a community and you don't have a support system and you dwell on that, I totally missed just now. You dwell on that, you're gonna be miserable because you're never gonna find it. And even if you do find it, that sense of like, oh, I can feel the community that I have, well, especially when it really comes down to needing that community, that may not last. And what's worse than making peace with something and realizing that it's not really something that you can sense, and, you know, coming to terms with it and finding security and comfort just without needing that, then losing it and having this feeling that you're reverting back to this miserable state of being. How did that have anything to do with what we were saying? I don't know. Now, I guess a little bit about me, if you're still watching this, so you can kind of gauge, like, is anything she's gonna talk about engaging for me personally? I am neurodivergent. I'm autistic and ADHD, but heavy on the autism. And I'm an advocate for many things. And I've been an activist my entire life, even when it was against my will, because I grew up in one of the last non-religious intentional communities in the United States. It's also one of the longest existing. Svesta, I love you so much, but you can't play with that right now. It's too loud. You can play with anything else. That's just solid. Yeah. One of the longest existing non-religious intentional communities in the United States. And surprise, surprise, that hippie commune was jam-packed full of people that dedicated their lives to activism, who were in protests and marches and rallies and all kinds of things throughout history, the last 100 years. And so by the time I was 2 or 3, I was holding a picket sign at different things, at different places. And it's just kind of in my bones. And I don't know if I should maybe stop saying this, but I do say that I was like indoctrinated into the life that I lead. I think everybody is, but I may be using that word a little bit incorrectly. I still kind of want to. Maybe I'll reflect on my use on that in a future video. And I try to find balance, because in some ways my parents were extremists, and in some ways they weren't at all. And I think that's typical. Like, if you grew up in a religious household, then you can probably think of ways that your family was maybe a little bit extremist and a little bit not. Like, it's kind of rare to have a community of people that don't have intense ideas and opinions on certain topics. Anyways, I've been an activist my whole life. I feel like I'm talking too slowly. I feel like it's getting boring. It's getting serious. It's been serious for too long. Been an activist my whole life. I've been living as an independent sort of adult since I was 13. I was at the top of my career by the time I was 22, and then lost that to like the company going bankrupt and heartbreak and burnout all at the same time. I'm super outdoorsy. I love fishing. I love to play around with the idea that I'm that bro on Tinder that holds up the big fat fish, but that's not true. It's just funny. It's a joke. I love fashion and I love makeup, even though I apparently can't do it while talking. And I love animals, and psychology, sociology, and making things, and wilderness survival, and cars, and plants, and gardening, homesteading, livestock. I said animals already, but a lot of people are like, oh, I like kittens. It's like, I like cows, especially the really big ones. I also am really into a lot of taboo subjects and on the like sexier side of things. And I'm not gonna delve into that yet. I'm gonna decide that as I go and learn. I don't want to stab myself in the foot more than I already have with how I'm deciding to approach this. But that is me. And I think that's all I have to say today because one, I'm sure this video is already like 10 minutes long. And my goal was just to sit here in front of the camera and get something across. And I did that. And I don't want to fill this video with things that are not intentioned, you know, they're not purposeful, but my goal is to form this habit, this like practice of filming and then and editing and uploading, and that motivates me to learn more things about the platform and all kinds of things to get to a point where I am creating structured and unstructured videos. Okay, the unstructured videos would be me, you know, just a day in the life, and look at this art project that I'm working on, like quick rant, you know, those kinds of things. And the structured videos are about very important topics that I'm extremely passionate about, doing different types of social experiments and so on. Like, I have the ability to create very well-formed content. I just don't want to put that pressure on myself now, because if I do that without this like routine first, I'm gonna never do anything. Or it's gonna be way in the future and it's gonna be really stressful for me. And so what's better than not doing anything for a year or two than doing something right now, even if it's not 100%. So that's my goal with this video. And you can join me on my journey of what it is to go from day one of YouTube onwards. If you want to really be that person that's like, I've been here since day one, then maybe join me in this adventure. Know that I'm an extremely like loving person. I'm also a very honest and direct person, and I'm very multifaceted and like a high contrast person, which I can explain what I think that means in the future. But that does make for the opportunity for some pretty cool stuff and interaction and stuff or whatever. So if you want to, stick around. But I'm also going to come back and show you what my makeup looks like when it's actually done, so that you can maybe enjoy that. Like get an idea, but like, wait, I thought I was watching a makeup video. You were not. It was me doing something I need to do while talking so I could sit here instead of sitting somewhere else and doing my makeup and then being too tired by the end of that to sit in front of a camera. So I'm gonna turn the camera off. I'm gonna snack. I'm gonna do my makeup, and then I'm gonna come back just for a moment. Okay. Bye. Okie dokie. Well, that was me 20 minutes later. I mean, this is me 20 minutes later. When I was doing my makeup, I almost turned back on the camera because I just wanted to say that, like, starting off a YouTube channel as a woman with zero makeup on, first video, first like 10 minutes or whatever of the, I guess 5, I don't know, but kind of great. Now, hopefully that allows me to pretty much do whatever I want, mentally, you know, with this channel, without having to feel so masked and so on. So I think I did a pretty good job. That's pretty much it. I'll show you my outfit, but I feel like that's for another video. Fashion later. Sorry, I made myself laugh. Okay, farewell. This is me. Goodbye.